gentlemen, we are here today with very special guests. Orphan here, Josh and Jacob from Orphan. Thank you guys so much for coming on. We really, really appreciate it. How are you guys doing? How is your day going? What is going on?
Yeah, tracking and editing right now. So
awesome. Oh, nice.
Chill and busy.
Very, very nice. Good,
busy is good.
Busy is good. But yeah, again, we just want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day for even talking to us, and just for letting us kind of dive deeper into the craft that you guys have made. That from what I can tell, almost, I guess, universal. Like, holy shit, this record is incredible.
Yeah.
From like everyone that we've talked to in our circles and on the internet, and just kind of the things that we've seen in our circle of people who listen to this kind of music, it seems like everyone that's heard it is like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God.
In a good way.
In a good way, yeah. So, well, first of all, congrats on the release of the record. Yeah. We were very excited to hear. Once you guys put out Dying Light, and we actually heard it for the first time on the channel, we were just like, okay, we cannot wait to see where they take this and where this goes.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we're again glad to have you guys on, and the record is absolutely incredible. So,
thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Shall we get into it?
Absolutely.
All
right. So, just kind of, how long did it take you guys to kind of come up with, I guess, to go from writing the record to recording the record? Like, was there like was it an extended period of time, or was it longer than normal, or how long did it guys take you from writing to recording?
So it was kind of split. A lot of the album were riffs that me and Josh had wrote like several years before, but we just vaulted.
See.
Vaulted for whatever reason. Like, we wanted to save it for something later, or we proposed it to bands we were in and they didn't like it. It's for whatever reason, and we just saved it, which is like really smart.
Yes, absolutely.
So a lot of the material was probably like maybe half of the album, I think, was like maybe like halfway conceptualized as far as like old riffs and structures of songs.
Got it.
But when we knew that we were going to be exiting Strangled, so we just opened up like our vault basically, and got with some friends that we trusted, like their like strong writing abilities, and just started basically just corresponding with them when we could in person, and then virtually. There really wasn't anything special that went on. We just kind of decided to start mulling over what we had done, and then that compiled and gave other people like ideas, which gave other people ideas, and it just, on paper, it was pretty boring. We just decided we wanted to make something out of it and like make it like solid and solidify all the material that we'd been saving.
Right.
And then it just went from there. I think, to answer your initial question about how long it took, like half of it was probably conceptualized, and then I think the rest of it, tracking included, didn't take any longer than about 7 months. Vocals is what took the longest. Like, everything else was pretty solid. But specifically, Porcelain and Vacant and Calluses all delayed our process by about 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Everything else was ready.
So you guys had the music first before you guys had vocals done. So you guys basically had the entire tracks recorded, and then like that time to record vocals, and that's what I guess took the longest, was just doing the vocals on the tracks that were already done. Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, well, when it comes to the recording process, do you guys record out of like a home studio, or do you guys record at a specific recording studio that you guys, have worked at previously, or where did you guys track the record at?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, nothing. I was just going to say that it's basically, it was a big garage that we remodeled with like some of the help of the guys that are in Feral.
Oh, nice.
To and like put, just like remodeled it. It was like it was just a single like 2-car garage that we remodeled to be a studio.
Oh, wow.
And so that's where we tracked it.
Nice.
That's awesome. That's badass.
Really home DIY. I kind of like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it seems like that's kind of the smartest option.
Yeah, big pause shout out to Chris Whitehead from Body Snatcher, because
friend of the show.
He helped,
yeah,
he was instrumental in some of the like pre and post recording stuff with all that. Obviously mastered it, mixed and mastered everything.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was more of a help than like we've expressed over media. He was huge.
Nice.
So big shout out to Chris White.
Yes.
Shout out to Chris. Yeah, he actually we had him on. I think he was our first like bigger guest that we had on, and he was super cool. I think we had him on over quarantine. We did it on Discord, and it was super cool. He's a great guy. Like, to talking to him and like picking his brain about recording bands and touring bands and kind of just like the things he knows about music is awesome. So. Yeah, he's a great dude.
Add another amazing thing to his list. His long-ass resume.
His long-ass resume of badass shit that he does. Yeah. Shout out to Chris Whitehead.
Hell yeah. Justin, you got something?
Yeah. So going from your previous project, Strangled, into Orphan, what was the dynamic, shift in instrumentals and music that you had in mind from project to project?
I'm sure Josh has something to say about this too, but I know that it was different because in Strangled we neither one of us did any other music writing, and so it just kind of like we used our voices. That was it. And with everything that Orphan turned out to be was stuff that we had written, but like along the years prior to, and then whenever we had to make up write material that hadn't been written, well, the guys that we were working with, we'd been friends with for years. So it kind of was like, if this answers your question, like Strangled was just like, we're just allowed to do vocals. And then Orphan was like, now we can do everything that we want to do.
Got it.
So
Nice.
It's kind of hard to compare.
Yeah, like a lot more creative freedom.
A lot more hands-on. Were you two like responsible for most of the writing on the album, or was it multiple cooks in the kitchen for that, or
musically?
Yeah.
For Porcelain, you mean?
Yes. Well, for the album. Yeah, for the album.
Oh, for sure. It was pretty split, but mainly it's me and Life.
Got it.
The others are amazing songwriters from also amazing bands. But it was like we kind of had like a conversation before we started it that between me and Life and them. They were like, listen, we have this idea. We don't really know exactly how it's going to express itself, but we know it needs to come out. So if y'all can just kind of like help us fill in the blank spaces,
right?
We'll probably like drive the ship if y'all are okay with not being in that much control of writing. And they were all down.
Nice. That's awesome.
It worked out.
They didn't even want to play shows.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
They're like, they didn't want to play shows, or they just had fun writing heavy shit in that studio. So that was it worked. It works.
Yeah.
With
awesome.
With them not wanting to potentially play shows and stuff like that, does that put a slight damper or maybe a foothold on playing shows in the future for you guys, or is that something that you might be toying around with, or are you guys more or less just trying to keep this, get your message out and kind of keep it on the internet? How do you guys feel about that?
Oh no, I mean, this last show that we had, I mean, we hired everybody, and that's what we kind of knew from the beginning.
Right.
Like even whenever we were approaching the other guys, that, you know, just like what Jacob said about it being, you know, we're kind of, it's what we want to do, but if you can help us out with the small, you know, some of the smaller stuff.
Right.
And that they weren't into really playing shows. So we were totally fine with, well, we'll just hire people every time we want to play shows. So no, that's not an issue for us really.
How did that show go, by the way?
Yeah.
How, like, was the reception? I guess was the reception. What?
That's a good sign already.
Is it a good sign or is it a bad? What is it? What?
Oh no, it's not. But here, hold up.
Yeah. Well, we both have something to say. Well, on paper, logistically, everything went great. Like
nice.
Everything was square. Business was square.
Thank
like
God.
all the no technical issues.
Yeah.
Right.
But you can answer the other part of that
question. I was like, yeah. I was like, everything went great except for mine and Jacob's performance. It was. I mean, and not because something that we've like talked to each other about since then was that the process of writing the album and doing the vocals specifically, we kind of didn't, I think, maybe speaking for myself, but I think we didn't realize how much took a toll on us over the last year or over the year that we were recording vocals. So once we got up to the show, I was just too sad. Like I was just, everything had just, I just didn't have my own eye on the prize, so to speak.
Right.
So like 20 minutes or so before we got up on stage, I was like inconsolable on the side of the stage. Wow. And I couldn't deal with it. The security guards are looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
Right.
But so it went fine. Like he said, on paper, everything was great. There were no issues, but it's a good experience, you know, to know, like, whenever you know, kind of go through some sort of, I don't know, if you're going to go through some, go ahead.
Well, I mean, we're still trying to like word it even to each other in our private conversations.
Yeah, right.
It's weird. Like, I don't know if I really want to get too far into that, but like,
of course.
I know that if you're, well, I've never done any, like, I've never felt what it is to like, if you are able to take your, like, actually step next to how you feel about something,
right,
and then live there for a while, but then also merge it with something like performing music like a clown. It's like, and it's just strange. It wasn't a balance that I knew you're gonna have to like find a happy medium in, but definitely found that out after the first show.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure it was a crazy learning process for you guys to kind of put everything out there and be like, oh, should I have to? Yeah, exactly.
Right. And plus, like, you know, especially when you perform songs that you've spent so much time on and worked on so much, a lot of those feelings that you had when you were writing and tracking those things come out amplified when you perform them. So I understand how that
totally
is probably incredibly difficult. Right. But I understand that's. But
it was like funny. Like, we even tried to, like, we thought we were playing it safe too, because we decided that we are not going to do like Porcelain mainly and Vacant live ever. But that still wasn't enough, because you, like he said, you had a full year of like living in a hole basically, that you're just kind of like, what is, you know, so it's very interesting.
Right. And then in terms of, I guess, you know, the reception between, you know, Orphan versus Strangled that you've seen live, because you know, when the exit from Strangled was announced, a lot of people were like, oh damn, like that sucks. But then I think pretty shortly after that, you guys announced Orphan, and people were like, oh shit, this is gonna be sick. And then the single drop, people were hyped on that. So, you know, in terms of, I guess, the live shows that you've played with Strangled versus I guess the most recent show with Orphan, was the reception kind of more positive, or was it kind of the same in terms of I guess like was it the same people that were coming over from Strangled, or was it a different dynamic, or like what do you guys think about that?
I mean, like, if I'm just being honest, I mean, I kind of didn't really pay attention because I kind of don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I know that, like, comparatively from the last Strangled show, like, at least just speaking for me, I felt like it was, I mean, that was like an awesome show because I felt awesome.
Legendary
like,
video.
Going
yeah.
on.
Legendary video. That was crazy.
But as far as like the fan carryover, I don't know, honestly. I think this sounds strange, but I've also only speaking for me, I've kind of just had blinders on for this project, and I think that there's been like maybe like half the carryover. I'm not really sure. But I don't know. Yeah, I kind of sound like an idiot, but I really honestly don't.
No.
That's kind of a good thing. It doesn't deter you guys from kind of being you and doing things that you want, which is kind of hard for some people. A lot of people kind of care about it, and you guys are like, yeah, this is us, and if you don't like it, go fuck yourself.
That's a gift, like not giving a fuck.
Honestly, like I mean, at least speaking from I guess the three of us when we first started doing the, like, obviously it's not the same thing, but we first started, I guess, putting our image out into the ether. We were super like worried about what people thought and all this other stuff. So, like the fact that you're just like, I'm just gonna do this, and if you don't like it, like I don't fucking care. I'm doing this for me, not for you. That's really cool. Yeah, like
it takes a lot to do that.
It takes a lot to do that. So
and more people need to do that.
Correct. 100% agree.
Like a lot more shit would come out, and be
honestly,
cool.
A lot more good shit would come out.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and especially because like and I feel like with a project like this, because obviously you guys are so close to the music and the art itself, that it's gonna be something that you kind of have to distance yourself from the opinion, because that's not the focus of what
exactly
this is, so. But yeah, that's really cool. I do want to put a pin in the last Strangled show, because I do want to talk about that a little bit later, but not
okay
yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh jeez.
I didn't mean to smack the shit out of you. I'm so sorry.
So I kind of want to go back to the beginning with you guys and how you got involved in heavy music. What drew you initially to heavy music? Like, was there a certain band that you identified with, or that just kind of like blew your mind and drew your attention? Like, how did that work out for y'all?
You want to answer first?
Sure. It'll probably be long-winded, but
yeah, well, mine will be too.
Perfect.
Okay. All right.
Thank God.
Well, I mean, him and I, we grew up together, right? So, like, I remember every piece of heavy music that I was ever exposed to was only through him. Like, he's the, I mean, so I remember us being kids, and, of course, I say kids, I mean, I was probably like 9 or 10 or some shit. And, he and of course there was like Metallica and all that shit that you listen to at that age, but there was always something in me that was like, this is cool, but I really need more than this, it's like, right. And I had no concept of what that is. And then
the natural progression.
And then he showed me I think it was the Iowa album.
Oh yeah,
by Slipknot.
Yep.
Whenever I was about 10 or so, and from there, I mean that's where it started really. Nice. So like from an early age, there was like older Slipknot. Then it kind of got into some like an era of like heavier death metal shit or whatever. But it wasn't until later in like high school era that I was like started at my my first band that I was doing vocals for, and it was a deathcore band, and I just was like being on stage, playing fucking filthy ass breakdowns like got my dick hard.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It'll do it.
So I knew that after that, I mean, I was probably 17 or 18, and so that's kind of really where it started. And I just knew, I was like, I don't give a fuck about anything else other than just, you know, doing this as much as I can.
Yeah.
So, but it didn't really, I think, well, I guess that answers my question, at least how I got into heavy music. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No. That's. Yeah. I definitely understand that kind of that feeling of just wanting more than finding that. You're just like, okay, this is the shit. Like this is what I wanted this entire time.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Or it at least gets closer to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Forever chasing that.
Gets closer to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I gotta. Awesome. I don't really have anything more elaborate to say.
But yeah, I definitely that feeling of just like always chasing the dragon of like what's the next step,
Chasing
you know?
dragon, yeah,
it's
honestly.
like always like that feeling is yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. I've always felt like whenever you feel like, you know, you can put a bow on it, just whenever you're fucking up. At least speaking for myself, is like that's not whenever you think, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it
almost
doesn't feel good to me.
It almost like loses its luster at that point. Yeah.
You never want to catch the butterfly. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
You just want to spend the time
exactly.
chasing it, type of thing.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Yeah.
But what about
I was gonna say, what about your brother?
Yeah, Jacob, how about you?
So for me, so I grew up on like classic rock and, you know, like every other person in America. And, I mean, what did I hear? I think it was like ZZ Top or some shit that I was listening to as a kid. But like they had an album called Triple X or something like that. But for them, they were using like really dirty overdrive for what, you know, they were doing. Which it's funny. It's like, so also, I don't want to get into this either, but just the way that we grew up, there wasn't a lot of exposure to anything besides what was like alternative anything.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I hear something and it perked me. And then I'd be like, so I'd go to like one of my parents or something and be like, man, I like this element of this music, trying to describe it. And then they'd be like, well, you should listen to Black Sabbath. So like we would go to our local library and they had you could rent music. And so that's like every weekend, that's what I would do as a kid, let's see, if he was 10 or 14. I don't know, I was in my, like 14. Oh, wow. So I would go to I'd get on the computer and I'd look up, just type in like hard rock or like whatever.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, low-key.
Yeah. Well, it is. But like
descent into madness.
It's funny being like a teenager in the 2000s, I guess it was.
Yeah.
And literally like some of the heaviest music has been written and you don't even know it exists. So yeah. And so it was just a slow trickle. Like I found Black Sabbath and then like I found like Godsmack. But I think that so like the one thing that, I mean, I'm much older than that now, but that has not, it still like hits me like deep, was Slipknot. Slipknot was the band that Iowa was the album specifically. It changed like it changed like my expectation for what I should experience out of music, because it hit if you and I think y'all get it, but it's like it goes from like a monetary, I'm just kind of listening to this, to I really am feeling something out of these notes and, you know, these things that are happening in my ears right now. And that's kind of, I guess, not to sound grandiose, but that set like, I guess, my expectation for how I interact with music. And so yeah, I guess Slipknot, I guess, is probably the one I would end on to answer that question.
Yeah.
It kind of start.
I mean, like, I feel like, you know, everyone that hears Iowa for the first, like, it's
Oh,
such a
man, yeah.
visceral reaction initially, and it just kind of like, because like even if you listen to like marginally heavy shit
In
adjacent
general,
to that, I think like the first time people hear Iowa, it's like it's a different kind of experience. You know,
like Slipknot themselves kind of had
Yeah.
that because that was my first heavy
Yeah.
like metal band. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think it was mine too.
Yeah, mine was Slipknot. My cousin showed me Duality, and I was like, hold on a second. There's something here,
yeah,
you know?
I do.
Yeah.
I heard Sulfur on.
Yeah.
Like it was like TVU or like one of like the music video channels that they played the Sulfur video, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like,
well, actually, kind of bouncing off what you were already talking about, you were saying like the notes and everything was kind of piquing your guys' interest and stuff like that. Like, what was the maybe what drew you to heavy music itself? Was it the energy? Was it, had you seen, maybe potentially music videos that kind of, you like the art of it, or maybe you've seen videos of shows and you were like, oh, how does that kind of, what was the thing that more or less kind of drew you in kind of further, after you kind of dipped your toes into
it? You go ahead.
Well,
this will be two separate answers, I'm sure.
Yeah. That's speaking for myself. So what, I was like 9 or 10. I just know that with, like I said, I don't want to get too into it, but about how my life was up to then, it was the first thing that I had ever heard that, and keep in mind, I didn't know how to play a fucking instrument. I didn't know what was even going on. Like, it was like somebody who'd never listened to music before. I couldn't tell you what was happening.
Nice.
Right.
But, it was the first time I had ever heard anything that, if this makes sense, sounded like how I felt.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
That is,
Yes.
That is actually the best way I've ever heard it described.
Yeah.
I think that's like, it's a very simple but very accurate way to I think with anybody that hears heavy music,
it unlocks something when you have like when you don't have a previous like understanding of it, you almost kind of, when you hear it for the first time and you relate it to a feeling, you go,
and it sounds like how you feel.
Exactly.
I think that's like the perfect description.
Truly. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. And it's like, I couldn't tell what they were saying. I couldn't tell what, I didn't know anything about it. I just knew like, oh, this is that shit.
Yeah.
So that's so
nice. I totally get it.
I mean, I just remember like that being the first, with the cliche, the spark that really drew me into like, just, I don't know. It was just like, taking a drug. If you're addictive. I mean, it's just like, oh, I need more of this now. So.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I feel like a lot of people do that same thing, but don't know how to describe it as well as you truly just did. Because it's like, oh yeah, you said it, and I was like, no, that makes like, that totally makes sense. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you? What about your brother? Is he still here?
Jacob?
Huh?
Did we,
What?
Got her up. Your turn now. Yeah.
I was petting my cat.
Priorities.
Hey,
honestly,
that's a good reason. That's a good reason. Yeah.
Priorities, honestly.
Love that.
I didn't hear my name. So I couldn't say it better. I mean, there did how he just did, or y'all collectively did. It's which is funny. I mean, it could be anything. Well, I think also like that maybe also is a better way of what I was trying to say a second ago, is like how you experience music is how he just said it. That's like a better way of saying that. Is like, and there's no, you can't really like dissect it any further than that. It's hard to know like how to pinpoint what element of this. It's also kind of useless, I think. It's just it's if that's
splitting hairs at that point,
right?
Yeah. So, it makes me thankful that people like all the guys in Slipknot or whoever, fill in the blank, like take time out of their life to do that so that you can experience, it residually down the line.
Yeah. Definitely helped a lot of people out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Do you guys remember like the first, I guess, heavier show that you guys went to when you guys were younger?
You go ahead.
Do you?
Fuck. I don't know. I think it was. Fuck. I think I was 12, and I think it was Slayer.
Oh,
wow.
shit.
Jesus Christ.
That's a good first show.
Holy shit.
Yo, well,
It's at the bar high.
That was my first like heavy show.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
Shit, I didn't see Slayer till I was like
I
19.
Yeah.
Had some time.
I think mine, if I remember correctly, was a local death metal band.
Nice.
Was the very first heavy anything I saw.
That's badass.
Nice. Yeah.
That's super badass.
It's like to start local too kind of helps, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's all you.
Oh yeah, shit. It's kind of circling back a little bit. Speaking of shows, I did want to touch on the last Strangled show. That was in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
So how is that? I guess that show, seeing all those people there to see Strangled, like, 'cause it looked from the videos that were posted, the one that Summer Wide posted, it looked fucking insane.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah, that show looked crazy. So I guess how is that for you to see, I guess, something that you put so much effort into kind of translating that way live in a place like that, you know, because again, it looked fucking crazy.
I don't know. I don't really think about it like that, so it's kind of hard to like answer. But
Yeah.
I mean, I just like straight truth, not intentionally trying to sound like a straight cock, but like it never was about like the response. Even
Right.
in Strangled, it was very personal, and so it was like, I mean, it wasn't even supposed to be something that formed like materialized into live shows. I mean, it was,
Yeah.
this has to be like, and of course there was like, oh, go ahead.
Oh, nothing. I was just going to touch on the fact, like, I remember just about how you said we weren't even supposed to play shows. It was like, I mean, Strangled was, we only started it like 2 years before.
Yeah.
And whenever we did, I mean, Jacob had already linked up with the other two guys, and he was like, he tried to get me to join for a while, and I did not give a fuck about anything. So I was like, no, I'm not joining this stupid fucking band. I don't care about any of it. So I did it anyway, but I was like, all right, well, I'll do it, but I don't want to play any fucking shows. I don't want to do it.
Right.
I just know that I have to, and I didn't even necessarily like, I can play bass, but I didn't even necessarily like, I wasn't like, I'm going to be the bass player. It was like, I can, as long as I do backup vocals, because I have to scream. Like, I have to fucking scream something. Yeah. So I was just touching on the fact, like, I mean, from how it started, at least from my, speaking for myself, like, it's, there was never any intention about the reaction we had got, or how it's received or anything. It was just, I have to do this. And as it went forward, I mean, it wasn't hard to reiterate that to myself.
Right.
Like that, I don't give a fuck if if I'm recording or if I'm playing a packed out show, you know, once I start, and I've done that in the past, once I start caring, I mean, that's where I fuck up. You know, it's like, speaking, so it's like, once I start caring about, oh, we're playing a fucking packed show, it's like, that's cool. Or if oh, there's not enough people here, blah, 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 like all that stupid shit. It's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm going to go up there and do the thing. Yeah. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you go ahead.
No, me? Oh, yeah, no. Well, that'd be, you said it exactly. That's what we definitely feel the same on that. It was, and to your point also, it absolutely, I mean, it's like, there's the business side of things, and then it's separate from like how you experience what you're doing, and they're like two different things. And it's like
absolutely
you can like which so it's two different conversations too. But as far as like the I don't know, personal side, for lack of a better word of it, it's like how he said, it's like the second, at least also in my experience, the second you start caring, it just convolutes it, because it takes it away from like where it's coming from in the first place and makes it this tangible thing that's you have to now view by approval and numbers and opinions, and even if they're good opinions, and which are just as destructive as bad opinions, and it has to be. Y'all have felt it, because you were saying it a minute ago. Like you guys felt kind of fucked up when you were like wanting to start what you're doing, and then you said that you ultimately made the decision that you said, "Fuck them, we're just gonna do what we want." It's like the same thing. You have to. It has to be pure.
Yes, absolutely.
I think the hard part is like staying ruthless with that, though. Like,
yes,
I mean,
it's so hard.
It's very difficult. Yeah. But I mean, I guess to word it somewhat differently, and maybe the answer will stay the same, as I guess, seeing, like, I guess the answer would be the same. But I guess seeing that many people identify and I guess identify with the things you're saying, the sound of the music, the message of the music, just the fact that it is so relentless and so ruthless, and that you keep it so pure, like, seeing that many people, at least, from the outside looking in, like having that many people identify with what you're doing for the same reason that you did it, it's like, I feel like that would be,
kind of nice, or
kind of nice. But,
I mean, like, it kind of, not really, because I'm just like any of them, like, but not in a. I don't mean that in a diminishing.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have like to your point, it has to stay pure. Like you have that thing, and it has to be. Well, but
it's also it's different too, because like any one of them could have done the exact same thing, or could at any point in time. It's just it's almost like it's not even separate, like performer and crowd. It's you're really just all experiencing the same thing. It's just that some people chose to do something different with their feelings, and the other people chose to do something different with it. It's like the same thing.
Two sides of the same coin.
I think so anyway. So it's like it seems it's hard to answer like any more than I would say if I could watch Slipknot in like 2001. Like the feeling of it's like I don't know the right way to word that. I think it's like just this all the same, just different.
What is a semi?
I will say on the flip side though, with a kind of another smaller answer to your question, was like, in regards to what Jacob said and what y'all have said. On top of that, like being at that last Strangled show, it was pretty fucking cool to get like to get hit with people who are jumping off a stage and spit on that might help as like to the core, you got to get up on stage, whatever that is, and not give a fuck. But on top of that, it was sick to get like spit on by people in the front row and like to get like slapped around and like I threw up. I had a puke bucket up there, and it like spilt on me and shit like that. It was fucking cool.
That's
really cool.
That was crazy.
Sick.
I was gonna say, is that kind of like the side of the performance, I guess you would say, is that you guys kind of enjoy the most, the camaraderie, and you kind of like pushing your energy and people pushing theirs back, and you kind of like moving some people and hitting some people. Is that what you guys personally enjoy the
ebb
most?
And flow of a live setting.
I mean, as long as you don't catch a case.
Well said.
No shit.
There you go.
As long as I don't get an email from some fucking lawyer, then it's fun, because I, kick somebody in the face in the front row. Then I'm like, that's cool.
There you go.
But
it's like if it could just be that way consensually all the time, it would be awesome.
I know.
A lot less problems would happen.
I was gonna say, there's a lot of that out here in LA. So if you guys are ever in town, you should definitely catch a show out here.
Please.
There's a lot of that out here.
I would love to play LA.
Yeah.
That would be fucking fucking
LA,
sick.
LA would love you to
would
have.
fucking love you
Yeah,
guys.
it'd be so
People
fun.
would lose their goddamn minds.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it just seems like, at least from what I've seen, LA is this kind of like just this frenzy of people always looking for like the next like crazy fucking band or crazy fucking show or anything. It's like if you catch like LA hardcore shows on like a good day, it's fucking chaos.
It
man.
literally,
it's
yeah.
insanity.
That's sick.
Sounds
I love it.
beautiful.
Without getting like specifically as to where you guys are, but like your, I guess, would hometown, for lack of a better term, like is the scene there kind of what you like would have expected, or maybe wanted a little more out of, or you know what would it be like, you know, or what is it like rather?
I would say, well, I could probably speak for both of us, but I could say for myself, I'm probably the last person here in Oklahoma to ask about what the scene is like,
Gotcha.
because I so am
We don't
like,
participate or like
Gotcha.
at all.
Yeah.
not involved. I mean, we don't even play shows here.
Gotcha.
I mean, like we're
Right.
not. But I mean, from my experience, which is only in the past, it doesn't sound like what you're saying LA is like.
No.
Vastly different.
LA
It
is
is.
No.
It's
Yeah.
fucking lame. But
yeah.
I get it.
it's lame as fuck. And
Yeah.
and
We're not
I just
fans.
and I'm not and I don't have. I mean, there's people I know. Some people, some people I know that are like involved in all that stuff. But
Yeah.
like, I try to stay away from it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
There's
Because
like
Mm-hmm.
well, like you're saying that there's some key just people that we, of course, like know that are
Right.
I would consider friends. And it's not like a reflection on them or anything like this. It's just the scene as a whole where we're from locally anyway is, I think, I mean, it ain't it. I don't really want to go into it, but it is what it is for sure.
Got it.
I know it's lame as fuck.
Yeah.
That's kind of the funny part is that it just seems like there's certain times where it's like LA was like that for a little bit, like right when I kind of started first getting into I guess the club scene around Los Angeles and Orange County out here. It was very different than it is now. It was a lot more, I guess, tame. It was more people kind of just like who would stand around their hands in their pockets, sit in the back and kind of just kick
Try
it.
to do the cool guy act and shit. Yeah.
But then,
Right.
post pandemic, it seemed like there was
People started letting
a
shit
fucking
fly.
renaissance
Yeah.
of just like crazy ass bands that come out of nowhere, and the shows again are just fucking chaos.
That's amazing.
Dude,
Yeah.
I think it's just because people took live music for granted.
for sure they
Yeah.
did.
And then once they lost that, they were just like, "Oh, well, I'm just gonna." And once it came back, they're just like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to every show ever." That's
Dude,
that's
the
ever been put on.
The
like a
first
Yeah.
like 3 months
Yeah.
post pandemic, it just seemed like every single fucking show was just insanity.
Yeah.
Dumb. Like,
Like-
it shouldn't have happened.
And especially like with the boom of like all the Bay Area bands like Gulch and Drain and Out of Pocket and like These Streets and like Snuffed on Sight and all those bands. Anytime any of those bands play in LA, it's again it's a war zone. Like anytime Drain plays, it's insane. Out of Pocket shows are fucking crazy in out here in LA. Like, and even for like a lot of the local LA bands like Momentum and Vamakara and like Zabalba and Rotting Out and stuff like that.
Still hold it down.
Yeah, like those guys hold it down, and like even like Clear Card and like bands like that are just absolutely crushing it right now. So LA definitely is like one of the hot spots for I guess live heavy shows. So again, if you guys are ever in town,
Let us know.
definitely catch a
Please
show
come
with
by.
us. Yeah,
Yeah,
come
catch a show.
by.
It'll be sick as
Absolutely.
fuck.
You guys would fucking love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Kind of going back to playing shows specifically. We asked this to a lot of our guests that we that we have on. Are there any shows that you've played in the past that like kind of like stand out to you? Like, what are your like best memories of these shows, and like what are your best shows that you've played, and also some of like the not so good shows that you've
The
played.
shitty shows. He's
Yeah,
scared
the
to
shit
ask.
shows.
Fucking suck.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the last Strangled show is probably like the dopest one. I just felt awesome the entire time.
Yeah.
Probably the lamest show is like Orphan's first show.
Oh, bro.
Damn.
Yeah.
Bro.
Damn.
and it's the same answer for me. And we're, as far as like with the terms best and worst, I mean, I'm thinking like the best I felt and the worst I felt.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Right.
not like there's a fucking big turnout and we sold all our merch or shit like that.
Yeah, no.
But it's like the first Strangled show was definitely the sickest. The last. No, that first one was dog shit.
Oh man, it actually was, because that would probably be like my second worst show.
Oh yeah,
because
you know what? Hey, you know what? I'm changing my answer. The best show I had was Strangled last, and then the worst one was Strangled first.
Fucking man, it was like, well, it was also like both of our first time playing a show in like years.
Wow.
And like everything went wrong. He threw down so hard that he knocked his, like, I think you broke your instrument cable in your bass or some shit.
I did that a couple of times. Yeah. Oh yeah. I broke. I don't remember how many basses I went through.
Jesus.
And didn't I have I didn't have the wireless system at the time, did I?
Not yet.
No. So yeah,
I'm assuming that had a lot to do with
it. I unplugged it. It got wrapped around my leg, and I tripped like 3 times.
Oh man,
it
was bad.
That's all y'all. How did? Yeah, I'm assuming that's happened a couple times.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah.
But I
and it was like,
I was
it was also like in the back of a pizza shop.
Yeah.
That's
so is in the back of some pizza shop in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and
did you get any pizza?
Like oh yes, but it was.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
But I mean, that was a good part of that night. Was getting that pizza,
yeah, the pizza was busted.
Let's go.
But no, yeah. So the worst show was like, definitely the first Strangled show, just because it was dog shit, and then the best one was the last one, because I mean, that was also our first show. I think it was the first show in Chicago after the pandemic.
Yes.
So I think there's what?
Also, our first show doing where we were both splitting vocals.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So it was over the pandemic. Like, I think when Strangled had released Torah, and whenever I was writing the vocal parts for that, I was doing it as if I was only on vocals and not having to like play bass on top of vocals, because it was around that time I told them, I was like, yo, dudes, like, I'm down to help find a bass player, but I'm not. I have to be on a mic and move around.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. Whenever, for me, like having an instrument in my hand. I mean, I like playing drums a lot, but having like a guitar or something that I feel chained to. I could not fucking stand that feeling. And I was like, if I can get like, a wireless mic and just drag my nuts across the stage like that, I love that shit.
Let them know.
So
there you go.
So that was our first. So the Strangled's last show was our first show with both of us on vocals, and that was it. So I think I was amped as fuck.
Nice.
Yeah.
That felt way more natural to you?
Say what?
That felt like more natural to you?
It always has.
Nice.
And I've only done just vocals for like 2 other bands, and those were like high school and college. And so I've only done like drums and bass and drums for a couple and bass in one, but I was always doing backup vocals.
Right.
So like even on drums, I was doing backup vocals and all that stuff, because I was
That's
like,
fucking gangster.
Honestly.
well, I mean, no, you should have seen it. I was fucking up. So,
that's funny.
No, it wasn't at all. But I just knew that. I mean, it was over the pandemic. It was especially with like just I guess I don't know this how I was changing over time. I was just like, yo, I don't give a. I'm doing exactly what the fuck I want, and I don't give a fuck if what anybody thinks about it. It's like, and I told him, I was like, I even told Jacob, I was like, yo, if you guys, if you're not down with this, or if they're not down with this, that's fine. But I'm gonna quit because I'm gonna do vocals on my own.
Yeah.
It's like that's what I have to do, and nobody cared, so that was cool. But no, it felt right at home.
Nice.
And I think that's why it felt so good for me on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, that's fucking badass.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm.
Samples.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing I wanted to ask. Just there's the last strangled question. I noticed that like your use of samples in the
man.
songs. Do you guys feel that when you guys use samples, does it kind of like get your point across a little bit more? I guess in a way, or like because some other people we talk to is that they hear a sample and then write a song because of how that sample makes them feel. Other times it's the other way around. Like they write a song like, what, this sample kind of ties it together and kind of gets the point across a little bit more.
Be real.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'll be real. I mean, other than Defect, I think the song Defect, every sample was completely random.
Really?
Like it was just
and also like not it also like they were random but didn't correspond with lyrics. It like they were just
right,
like you said, just completely random.
Well,
Yeah.
Like hard ass shit to say.
Defect and one sample in Torah, but
yes.
But the Tupac sample in Torah.
Oh, dude.
But that
the
was like,
best fucking sample.
The Yahoo.
Yeah.
When I first heard it, I was like, "Oh, this is it."
Dude, the greatest fucking sample of all time.
Oh no, that was that Yahoo. That's not the one I'm talking about. The Yahoo one is I think that's
Juicy
36 Mafia or
Yeah,
Juicy
Juicy
J.
Yeah.
No, at the very end, right before the slow part, there's a sample of Pac. But everything else I think was random or but regardless, nothing was written around it.
Gotcha.
Okay, gotcha.
No, it was like the song was written. Songs I believe were written before that, and then we just plugged in samples.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that's badass. But yeah, but again, just the samples in Torah are fucking god tier. Those are incredible samples. Yeah. My favorite ever. But yeah.
Shit, where did my phone go?
Hell yeah.
Where did my phone go?
But
I don't know, man.
Well, also too, because I'm assuming just due to the nature of the newest album itself, obviously there are samples and stuff like that within it. I'm assuming that has a little more tie to it, I guess you could say. In the newer, I'm assuming that has a little more to
every sample in Porcelain is deliberate.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like that also like you can see it too. You know what I'm saying? Or not see it. That's
it's very evident.
Yeah, correct.
Mm-hmm. Which is like we've never really had like a shtick about doing samples for anything, like just at like specifically.
Yeah.
Right.
But it just happened to be that some like really sentimental movies or that we both shared between the two of us, like encapsulated feelings that we just loved, and so it was like he just said, is we very deliberate in using those just for the sake that we felt something when we watched it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Cool. I guess something that we wanted to ask, and maybe we've already kind of answered this question on the show with everything that we've been asking, but what are you hoping to accomplish with Orphan, with this project? Like, whether it be whether it be a cathartic reason or anything that you want to get into, what is something that you're both hoping to achieve with this project?
That's hard to put into words.
Yeah.
It's not trying to dodge your question.
No, yeah.
I'm just not sure how to answer it.
There's I mean, as far as like wanting to achieve anything, there's nothing I particularly want. Well, there isn't anything I want to achieve other than, keep on creating the music that I feel is so absolutely necessary for me, or maybe not necessary is the right word. Or maybe it is that I have to make it.
Right.
Or I'm going to go fucking insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to make this stuff, and just to continue. I mean, just to keep doing that. And of course, like if you mean like business wise, I mean, yeah, tours are, we're getting in line with ideas of like touring and, more shows and all that. Yeah. There's plenty of things like that we would like to do. But I'm just going to do this until I feel like I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know.
There's definitely like not. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. There's a lag. So.
Oh yeah. Well, exactly. Like he speaks for both of us in that. There's definitely like not some message or anything that we're like want to convey or like third party wise. It's
right.
just like just what he said. Just keep making it until you feel like you're just fucking sick of it and then stop. But until then, it's just like you have to like keep doing it. Mm-hmm. Hard to explain.
Yeah, no, I think that was I think the best explanation we could have gotten for that question.
Truly.
I think that's definitely like, it's not necessarily like a pointed what you hope to accomplish as opposed to this is what we're doing this for, which is I would say is even an even better answer to that question than I originally was
intending
for. But yeah, and I guess to kind of tie this together and kind of sort of wrap up a little bit. Is there anything that you guys are working on that you can talk about or that you want to talk about that's coming up for Orphan? I know that you guys were saying that you were tracking vocals a little earlier today, but or at least writing and tracking today. But is there anything that you guys have on the docket coming up?
Yeah. Quite a bit,
but
nice.
We can't talk about it.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Yeah, but we can't talk about it. I mean, just other than very blankly, we're just writing. I mean, we started. Instruments were getting written for the second album before the vocals were even finished on the first album.
Oh wow!
Oh,
so
damn.
since they were finished, the instruments were done recording. Before the vocals were done. Jacob and Daniel, our other guitarists, they got right on. Writing more stuff.
Right.
So, but no, yeah, we're just tracking and getting that exactly how we want it.
That's badass. But yeah, again, to kind of just tie this together, we really appreciate you guys coming on and talking to us and just kind of giving us the opportunity to, I guess, just pick your brain about all the fucking amazing shit that you guys have been doing for the past, what is it, almost 3 years now?
Something like that, yeah.
And so we appreciate you guys, taking a minute to just kind of let us pick your brain about this kind of stuff, and we're very excited to hear what you guys are doing in the future.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah. And
man, of course. Thanks for having us.
Of course.
Yeah,
and then hey, if you guys are ever in town, want to catch a show or like at least come back on in person, we would love to have you guys.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah, so
If you ever find your way out here in LA, man.
yeah, please.
Definitely. Where can they find you guys?
Yeah.
Instagram only.
Yeah.
No, right after our first show, so I run most of all of the social media for the band and all that stuff. And right after the first show, I got home and I was just like, I fucking hate Facebook. So I deleted our Facebook page.
Low key though.
I was like, dude, fuck this. And it's just it just doesn't. I'd post one thing on Instagram, gets a few like 10,000 something, likes, views or whatever. Post on Facebook and it's like 12. And I'm like, I was like, I'm not, and not that matters, but I'm just like, I would rather just go to one.
Yeah, I go through all the effort.
Of having to like deal with all this bullshit. So
of course,
I just, I mean, as far as like streaming the music, it's pretty much everywhere. Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, all of that. But then we just our Instagram, which is at Orphan Band.
Perfect.
So that's it.
Well, again,
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much for having us. We really appreciate you guys.
Thanks for being here. Also, thanks for the great music.
Thank you
Truly.
guys
Yeah,
for having
thank
us.
you.
Sir,
And,
Yes, thanks.
Where can they find us?
Oh
you
shit!
can find us on TikTok at SDM Podcast.
Instagram Strawberry Death Machine, all one word.
We have a YouTube channel where we do reactions and our video podcasts. Go ahead and hit like, subscribe, tell all your friends about us.
All that good shit.
Leave a written review for us on any streaming services you can find podcasts. We also have a Discord. It's a cult. You should join it. It's pretty cool. You get exclusive stuff there that you wouldn't get anywhere else.
And
Also,
if you want to watch us play games, you can follow us on Twitch TV /Strawberry Death Machine or Strawberry Death Machine Gaming on YouTube. And we got all that cool geeky shit going on there. We're playing Elden Ring right now.
Might be playing Cyberpunk. Who knows?
And we might be playing Cyberpunk, so we'll see how that goes.
Cool.
But yeah, with that being said, you can see us next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Deuces.
See you later.
Peace.